Good morning to all of you. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So we have a very interesting job to do. We will get to the how part of the Vikshit Bharat, and I have a small job to do here. I'll quickly give some kernels to my fellow learned three speakers. They will, through their keynotes, share their thought process, but I thought a few kernels perhaps would help to set the tone of the session. So while doing that, let's start with one of the greatest business philosopher, I repeat, business philosopher of the world, Jim Rohn. He said, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. So my quick point would be, I'll be spending about 5-7 minutes to give you the kernels, then I'll hand over according to the order of the design of this program, and we'll develop on this theme, and we'll say that our CMAs would turn to be the value innovators, not value innovators. Innovators. Why innovators? I'll talk to you quickly. So essentially consulting roams around 5 major points. One is expertise of yours, you are already. Second is knowledge, you are a repository of knowledge, so you should be expected to have a lot of industry oriented and application oriented knowledge. Next is your service, and finally success. When you success and you say that I have done my job, but your job doesn't end there as a consultant, you have to go for helping them in implementation, whether the client looks for or not looks for, because you can't run away from what you have committed and said. So whether you like it or not like it, you are already a consultant, whether you are in industry or in practice, because when I used to be in industry as a CFO of one of the largest MNCs of India, people used to come and talk to me. They used to be my in-house customers. And when I am a consultant today, my external clients are my customers. So whether you like it or not like it, you are a consultant. Your objective is to maximization of value creation, of course with optimization also, and your untold objective and task is minimization of value destruction. So along with cost optimization, you have to minimize value destruction. And finally, we have to approach with the glass is not half empty. The glass is half filled with air. That air we have to remove and bring value to that place. That is what is the idea. So value has a value if its value is valued. Value has a value if its value is valued. Who said this? Mr. Dyson, who was the Coca-Cola chairman, Brian Dyson. And you are truly here. He says that pre-assess impacts of seeds in the womb of time. We, cost accountants, should not be reactive. There is a regulation, there is a law. We go to the authorities and say, we should be there as one of the contributors to the process. No, we should be preempting and proactively talking about what should come in the process of country's value creation, and then proactively say, this is the role I want to play, instead of approaching them after the event is happened. So, pre-assess the impacts of seeds in the womb of time. Value बढ़ेगा तो इंडिया भी विकसित भारत बनेगा. Value बढ़ेगा तो इंडिया भी विकसित भारत बनेगा. So, coming to the next kernel, there is a concept in the consulting world called bow-tie approach. And I have taken a very simple point here, that is the production. And in this bow-tie approach, you have a operation. I am taking your production as an operation. You have your departmental functions. And one of the value destructor is maintenance, other than preventive maintenance. So equipment fails, and I start maintaining, I incur a cost, or I replace the machine, I lost revenue because the production is less, and could be one of the reason is that my staff is untrained. So when you take a bow-tie approach, you have to do a congruence between two sides of your collar, and at the center point, there has to be organization's super objective, that is the value creation, and the kernel here is equipment breakdown should not happen. What we should do for not breakdown happening instead of repairing the asset. So while we have to do this, we have to keep in mind that organizational goal congruence is important. At times departmental goals and organizational goals conflict to each other, and that's how your collar gets loosed out. It should not happen. So here the Johari window which we are seeing here, I have developed with a concept that what a cost accountant's third kernel should be. The third kernel should look like this. So on top is other professionals for you, say engineer, and for the customer is competitor, and now consultant is you or your customer. So we'll be doing a study of known and unknown. If the other professionals know something, or your customer knows something and you also know and your customer also know, then it's a public knowledge. If other professionals know and you as a consultant or your client doesn't know, it's your blindness. If the other professionals do not know, but you as a consultant and your customer as a company knows, then that is unique strength. But let's not stop here, because there are a lot of erasers in the world. Your unique strength will never remain as a unique strength, it will go away. So unique strength, by the time it goes, you move to the area which is called unexplored. What is unexplored? What you don't know, your client doesn't know, the competitor doesn't know, and your clients, other value stakeholders also do not know. So job of a CMA is to come here to this unexplored area, and that is where the whole consulting lies, and digital transformation, particularly in the MSME sector, is still not happening across the world. So what is your unique strength should be is here. Can you just quickly move on to my chair? Sorry to unseat you. Look at this. All of you know what is rewrite vision and mission, 4P sustainability. Yesterday Dr. Gupta was talking about 3P, profit or bottom line. I call it 4P sustainability, and the fourth P is product. RPM. We have to move from enterprise risk management, that ERM modeling, to REPM modeling. I do not know whether you are aware what is REPM. It's called Risk Enabled Performance Management. Risk Enabled Performance Management, and for that technology will help you. And finally ESG, of course we have talked a lot, and change management. So you as a consultant at the global level or domestic level, you should be the proactive change agent for your client and for your profession. When I'm going for consulting, I do a lot of consulting for listed and unlisted companies. I go and talk to them. What is your pain point? Where are you suffering? How can we change it? That's the first approach. Now, if you have to go for that, we have to ask questions, and that is where the kernel comes. Our realizations of tomorrow will be limited by our questions of today. Our realizations of tomorrow will be limited by our questions of today. You should not be a know-all person, because the client knows the better his industry, his sector. You have to start knowing this client and knowing this sector. Of course, you have specialized knowledge. Then I'll take help of another kernel, This I have developed from Gita. I have read the book of Ramakrishna Mission Sannyasi, and he says that any consulting activity should be done with Sarvang Rilidham Brahma. That means the ultimate beneficiary of your consulting activity should be people in general, through your customer, right? And if that has to be so, I have taken here society and I have taken here you as a consultant, or me as a consultant, and I am talking about benefit. Now, if the consultant is getting harmed and the society is getting benefited, you are becoming a martyr, right? Society is benefited and you are getting harmed. If the society gets harmed and you are also harmed, you are a terrorist. Nobody is gaining anything. If the society gets harmed and you are getting benefited, you means the opinion, you as a consultant, you are a parasite. You are sucking the society. So, parasite cannot stay there for long. Terrorist will be killed and martyr will bleed to death. Then what is your approach? Win-win approach. So society has to benefit through your client company, and we have to benefit as CMAs and consultant. That is to be done. Then what is our kernel? Our kernel is remain emotionally invested, passionately driven, and intellectually excited. The kernel here is remain emotionally invested, passionately driven, and intellectually excited. Mind the word, intellectually excited. And intellectualism comes from seeking knowledge once again. I'm just finishing another 2 slides after this. In any consulting assignment, you have 4 buyers. First is the policy decision buyer, who is the MD or the CEO. Second is the technical buyer. Suppose you are giving the GST consulting or production consulting. The guy who is handling this is your technical buyer. Next is your financial buyer, who is approving the money part of it. The third is the service recipient buyer, because he will not be working with the head of the departments. He will be working with the team members who will be forming a judgment about you, whether you are doing a good job and you have the knowledge about it. So when I go for my own consulting, I have finished a consulting in South India in Kerala. I have met with the lowest person on the ground who is doing the job. That is what is your starting point. And my next kernel in this slide is that never ever charge consulting fee. You will say, Dr. Basu, you are a stupid fellow. मेरे पेट में दाना पानी कैसे आएगा if I don't charge consulting fee? You are damn stupid. But my request to you, have a share of the value you create for the client. Say, this is the value I'll be creating, and I'm looking for this percentage of the value of the creating. If I value less, create less value, I'll charge less to you. I accept that I couldn't create. So your skin in the game and your passion and sympathy, empathy, compassion is with the job. Okay? So at times you be ready to accept sweat equity instead of cash. I provided 3 years consulting a Bangalore-based firm with equity shares. It's a startup. Particularly 4th generation entrepreneurs, they love to give you sweat equity instead of cash, particularly startups. So today is an era of digital transformation. So all of you are in industry now. I was in 34 years in industry. Today in the digital world, if you are going for consulting, this is what I spoke in 2018 in World Blockchain Summit Moscow as a summit chair, and I repeat the same thing for you. Technology doesn't have passion, morality, ethics, compassion, emotional intelligence, and value generation skills. Technology doesn't have passion, morality, ethics, compassion, emotional intelligence, and value generation skills, but technologists, managers, and consultants have those. So your task of the trio is to collaborate in search of excellence. So empathy, sympathy, compassion, knowledge, equity, all these things are important in this world, because the value generation skills come from not only knowledge, but also your compassion, your empathy, your sympathy, your morality, your ethics. And my last slide, and this is again I talked about in Moscow, what these three people from industry will look for. In today's world, when digital technologies are taking over, not only the consulting world, but also the doing world, that is the industry and service providers. Humanity first, reduce complexities, reimagine consumption, manage climate emergency, redistribute power and wealth, suggest for creative destruction, be accountable without discrimination, enhance technology with universal altruism, fix the imbalance of humanity and technology, and finally, let imagination and ethics lead to transformation. Thank you very much indeed. I would now request my fellow colleagues in the panel to kindly take up their part, and if you can kindly build up on some of the kernels which I have shared with you. May I call upon Dr. Raghavendra Prasad Venkatraman to share his thoughts on global consulting.